What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis video. I want to talk about something. I think this is important to bring up. So, we all know, if you logged in recently, in the last, I don't know, day, you would have noticed a brand new announcement that came out for a dungeon ranking event that is supposedly dropping on October 26th, if they can actually fix all the defects that happened in the first Mako Reactor one. So, this one is going to require us to have wind and thunder weapons, right? If you haven't seen the video, you can go check it out, or you can just read the events post. I talk all about it, explain what's going down, and what to expect and how to prepare, including some alternate weapons. So here's where a lot of people are going to have problems with this. Now, while I'm talking, I'm going to go ahead and do this event because I got to do some farming here. We know that wind is going to be the primary weapon for this event. They've already announced it. We know lightning is going to be the second, or thunder, whatever you want to call it. The issue a lot of people are going to have here is it's going to be an unfair event for most people. Okay, and what I mean by this is, of course, going back to the controversial situation that happened with the refund, quote-unquote refund, of the Matt and Aerith banner, right? It put a lot of people into a surplus of blue crystals that they weren't expecting to get. And even though it originally wasn't going to be a problem for most, it has now obviously become a problem because we are now facing a dilemma because there are a plethora, and I mean like a lot of people that I know that I have either double the crystals they had when they first started this, or they have an insane amount of dupes for arrow weapons. Right, whether it's the Prism Rod now, or they used all the crystals they were refunded back and got themselves Sephiroth's brand new Dark Heavens weapon, it's now become kind of a lopsided event. And I knew making my last video, I wanted to talk about this in a separate video altogether, because it's going to be unfair, right? And this is kind of partially one of the reasons why I don't want to pull for the Sephiroth banner, even though it is going to be something that's going to probably help a lot of people progress through the rankings and get better rankings for it, especially if they didn't go for the Prism Rod for Aerith. I feel like because of the way the compensation was handled, which, by the way, again, I'm not going to get into my thoughts on that. I've already kind of given my thoughts on that. It now is going to show its effect on how this event is going to be structured and how it's going to be perceived and how it's going to be participated in. It's weird because the customer service was fantastic in terms of how it handled the refund for everybody. It didn't discriminate. It just gave everybody a refund, right? That actually pulled on the banner, as long as you submitted a ticket, of course. And again, don't ask me guys how to do that. I didn't personally do it. There's Reddit posts about it and how to do it properly. Go search for those. But I believe at this point, if you didn't submit a ticket, it might be too late, but it doesn't hurt to try, right? But now what it's done, it's kind of put everybody into a weird position because the event itself is now skewed. There's no other way to put it, right? For the free-to-play players who decided not to pull on Aerith and Matt because they wanted to save their banner for Halloween, for example, they are now in a situation where other free-to-play players who did pull on that are at an advantage because they had 36k back or whatever the case may be, plus the 3k, which we all got, so that doesn't really count. And then, of course, the full refund back of all diamonds spent on that banner if they submitted a ticket. It's a pretty lucrative and big refund for free-to-play players, especially. For whales, honestly, it doesn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, a whale's a whale. They were going to get that money back and they were going to spend it on the Sephiroth banner anyways, right? I know whales who said they're going to skip that banner and went all in on it as well. You can't really bring spenders into this equation, but this is more for the free-to-play side. So I'm gonna throw my 2 cents out here for you guys, okay? I wouldn't personally take this event as seriously as you would, for example, the Mako Reactor one. Okay? It's gonna be lopsided for the most part. Okay, especially if you're in a grouping with people who did get a massive refund and went back in and summoned further for those wind weapons, chances are you're going to be losing your ranking to those players. Okay, so I personally am, on my free-to-play side at least, am not going to worry too much about that. And I think the advice here is for those who are going to participate in this and who are still playing the game is to kind of just not block this one out necessarily, but like don't think too much about your ranking here. If you can still get a decent ranking because you played smart, you did the right strategies, you have a good arrow materia, and you have an alternate wind weapon that you've been working on, ironically enough, from before these banners dropped, you might still be in a really good position to do well. But for those who are not ready for this and we're hoping to, kind of talk about pulling for Sephiroth or not now because they want to compete, just remember what happened the previous banner. You were going to compete against players who got most likely a full refund of crystals, kept their equipment, and now are at an advantage that you will not be in. So before you guys decide to go ham on this banner, and it's weird because saying this, I feel like Applebot did something interesting. They did such a good customer service act, but now they've also lost a lot of their customers because of it. And at the same time, now they're losing money because the crystals that were the surplus that they got from the refund are now being used towards Sephiroth banner, where normally people would be spending money to get this banner. They have the crystals refunded to them, and they're doing it now, quote unquote. I'm not going to say for free, obviously, because they spent money in the last banner, but they would have bought in this banner for Sephiroth, and now they don't have to. So a lot of whales, in fact, are in a position where they didn't spend a penny on this banner because they got it all back from the previous one. For free to play, obviously, like I said, this is where it's going to affect you the most. I'm not overly concerned about my ranking. Quite honestly, the extra gacha tickets are nice, obviously. The 5-star synthesis material is nice, obviously. But I'm not going to be upset if I hit like top 300 to 500 in this one. The last one, I would have definitely been more like, shit, I didn't do well. I could have probably done better if I put more time and effort. But in this one, I'm going to just keep my head up here and just remember that I didn't pull for that Matt and Aerith banner. I didn't get any compensation. I'm in a situation where I'm not going to be able to take advantage of the dupes or summon on these banners because I'm saving. So I just want to point that out, guys. It is going to be a very lopsided event, probably an unfair event for many of you, but just keep your head up, put this one aside, right? And let's just, I think, move on. I don't know if they're going to address this in any way. I don't know if they're going to come up with a solution for this problem, but I don't think they will. I don't think it's a problem in their eyes because it's just a ranking event. And I think that's how I'm going to treat it. It's just a ranking event. We'll have more in the future, and it's not something I want to totally focus on and diminish my enjoyment of the event when it comes. I just want to do the event, have fun with it, not worry about what happened in the past, but also to keep in the back of my mind, don't be disappointed at my results if I'm again facing people who had a massive refund back on the last banner and now have full sets of gear that they normally wouldn't have. Anyways, guys, I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. I know it's going to cause some controversy, so I want to just give my 2 cents on and kind of put a positive spin on things and maybe just not take things as seriously as some people will. Just remember, it's just a game at the end of the day, right? We're competing over minimal prizes. And, again, I think at the end of the day, the biggest losers in this whole equation is, in fact, the devs, because where they would have normally had more money, people spending money on this banner, they actually now have a lot less people spending money on the banner because of these massive refunds they gave. So, again, kudos to them for making a really good customer service move, but at the same time, sucks for the game and also sucks for a lot of the players now who have to, suffer the consequences in this event. Anyways, this is Payne. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious about your thoughts on this. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.